There are some phrases from ancient texts that just have this incredible power. They echo through the centuries, full of hope, but man, they can also be wrapped in a bit of mystery. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most profound promises out there. This line right here from the book of Revelation, this is our focus. It promises an end to literally everything that causes us pain. But when it says the former things have passed away, what does that actually mean? For us, for our lives, and maybe most importantly, for our memories. And yeah, that's really the heart of the matter, isn't it? It's a question I think a lot of us have wondered about. To get rid of all that pain, does God have to just wipe the slate clean, erase the story? Are we going to forget the people we've lost, the lessons we've learned, the very journey that made us who we are? Well, that is the puzzle we are going to investigate today. To solve this puzzle, we kind of have to put on our detective hats. We're going to examine the clues, piece by piece, and we'll start right at the source, the original text itself, to see what secrets it's holding. Okay, let's dive right in. Our first major clue is hiding in plain sight, right there in the original Greek words of the text. This is super important because this is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. Okay, and this is where it gets really fascinating. The original Greek phrase is ta prota apelthon. Now, ta prota doesn't just mean the things you remember. It's so much bigger than that. It points to an entire order of existence, a whole system, a whole way of life. And apelthon means that system has departed, it's gone away. So right off the bat, the focus isn't on what's in your head, it's about the entire world around you changing. And the cool thing is, the Bible doesn't just leave us hanging, wondering what these former things are. The verse itself tells us, point blank, we're talking about death, mourning, crying, and pain. It grounds this huge cosmic promise in the most real, most gut-wrenching human experiences that we all, unfortunately, know so well. But wait, there's more. The context blows this wide open, because right after this promise, it says, "Behold, I make all things new." Think about that. This isn't just about deleting the bad files. It's a complete system reboot. It's a total renewal of everything. We're not talking about an empty canvas, but a recreated masterpiece. All right, on to our next big clue. And this one shows us that this idea isn't coming out of nowhere. The promise in Revelation is actually tapping into a much, much older one from the prophet Isaiah. And putting these two texts side by side, well, that's key to solving our puzzle. So here's where it gets tricky, right? On the surface, it looks like we might have a contradiction. Isaiah's version says the former things shall not be remembered or come into mind. And that sounds an awful lot like total amnesia, doesn't it? It seems to clash with this idea that our stories, our journey, are important. But here's the key to unlocking this whole thing. In ancient Hebrew thinking, for something to be not remembered wasn't always about literal forgetting. It was a powerful way of saying that thing had lost its influence, its power. It was no longer painful, it no longer defined your reality. The memory might still be there, but its sting, completely gone. So, with all this evidence on the table, people have come up with a few different ways to think about this promise. Let's do a quick flyby of the three most common interpretations and see where they land. First up, you've got the total amnesia view. Some folks think everything just gets wiped clean, but honestly, that's pretty unlikely. If we forget our past, then the whole story of redemption, of being saved from something, kind of loses its punch, Then there's the idea that only the bad stuff gets forgotten. Okay, we're getting warmer, but it still feels a little too simple, like memory is just a file you can drag to the trash can. That brings us to the third view, which is probably the strongest, that we remember everything, but the pain is gone. And that is a really powerful idea. But it might still not be telling the whole story. It really focuses on our internal feelings, but the promise seems to be about something even bigger, a change in the entire world around us. Okay, so we've gathered all the clues. We've looked at the language, the context, the different theories. Now we can put all the pieces together and see the full and, frankly, absolutely breathtaking picture of what this promise is all about. And here it is, the big reveal. The crucial point is that what passes away isn't your memory. It's the entire fallen order of things. The reality of a world defined by sin and death, its power over you, the constant weight of it on your shoulders. That is what gets completely and permanently replaced. So what does that actually feel like? What does it look like in practice? Well, first, it means your memory isn't erased, but the reality it points back to is redeemed. You'll still know the story of what God brought you through, but that story will no longer make you feel grief. It's not a present tense burden anymore. Next up, and this is huge, the past completely loses its ability to hurt you. Just think about how a painful memory can just reach out from the past and twist your thoughts or steal your joy right now. Well, in the new creation, that connection is completely severed. The past can no longer wound you, period. And third, picture this. The goodness of the new reality is just so overwhelmingly good that the old world just pales in comparison. The joy, the life, the sheer presence of God will be so immense that the sufferings of this life, like the Apostle Paul said, won't even be worthy of being compared to it. And finally, and this is so important, you are still you. Your identity continues, but you're a version of yourself without a sin nature, without all that internal conflict, and without scars that still ache. You, but fully restored, fully whole. So you see, it really boils down to this, doesn't it? The goal isn't forgetfulness. It's a healed consciousness. And it's not a future of being haunted by the past, but living fully present within a healed creation. God doesn't erase your story. He just completely and finally silences evil's echo within it. Look, this isn't just some dusty old theological debate. This promise matters. Right here, right now, for how we get through our lives in a world that is so full of pain and brokenness. So what does this all mean for you? Well, here's the bottom line, the deep assurance you can hold on to. It means that nothing painful you have ever been through gets to write the last chapter of your story. Nothing that is broken now will stay broken forever. And your memories, your story, they're safe. Not erased, but redeemed, and finally at peace. In the end, that promise, the former things have passed away, it's more than just poetry. It is a declaration of final victory. It's the ultimate hope that evil and suffering and death don't just fade away, they are decisively and eternally ended.